Yo, what's up, homies? We're out here in front of our beautiful waterfall from last video, and it is time to make a change. But don't worry, we're not going to be changing anything with this beautiful masterpiece right here. We're going to be working on this tree. So today I've decided that this tree just simply isn't big enough. We need to go big right here, and we're going to put a treehouse in it. And the treehouse is going to be one of those big, extravagant ones that, you know, pokes out from the branches so you can see it from the outside quite a bit. It's going to be pretty big inside the tree, I'm not gonna lie. But that is the plan, which means this tree needs to come down and we need to get building a very, very large spruce tree, which I'm honestly a little bit nervous about, but we'll get through it, I promise. So why don't we start by tearing this bad boy down? So our tree is down, and we have plenty of room down here. And I think what we're going to do, actually, is build it kind of like out here this way. And that way we can kind of have like roots, you know, under the water, maybe sticking out in the water a little bit. And I think we'll use some of the mangrove roots again, see if we can get that to work. I'm still undecided on the color, but maybe. And we're going to have a secret redstone entrance. You know, somewhere in the tree. And I have a really cool idea on what to do with that. So hopefully it works out. But of course, before we do any of that, we need to get going on the tree, which is going to be large. Very, very large, I believe. So let's go and get some materials up here on our material cliff that we still have not cleaned up with all of our shulkers. Oh, we cleaned up a little bit. I forgot. But we need to find wood. And I'm sure there we go. All right, we got a base camp set up. So now we can start doing a little bit of planning. Ooh, I'm excited. But in order to do some planning, you need to bring your materials. Whoops. And now that we've gotten our materials out, let's start to plan this thing out a little bit. So I think what we'll do is put the base of the tree like right up on the water like this. I think that should work. And then that way, I made a little change right here. This is going to be what triggers our secret door. And I think I might be able to move it back one block, but I still ended up moving it back another block. So this is where it's going to be. And let's throw our piston in like that. And then we have our stair, which is going to, you know, hide our entrance. Now this is looking a little funky over here, but you know how the base of trees kind of like go out like this. So we're going to utilize that and hide all of our redstone. Hopefully completely. That's, you know, that's the plan anyways. But for this one anyways, we need to take this out. I don't think I want mud there, so maybe we'll just keep with the wood theme. And then we need a redstone torch. And now we go down underneath everything. So then we'll throw another one of these down, another redstone torch, which did shut that off. Perfect. And now let's just clear out a little bit of room under here. But first, I suppose we should probably shut the water off right here, shouldn't we? So we're gonna have to go down under here, which means we will block this off as well. And then let's just plug up all the water and hope it works. Oh, of course you're gonna be difficult, you stupid stair. All right, I guess we have to take the stair out for now, but now we have it set up properly, I suppose. So now we need to add a bit of redstone down here. So let's get rid of, let's get rid of the mud stuff. Now, just a fair warning, I am not a good redstoner, so this is not gonna look pretty, but hopefully it functions as intended. And look at that, we broke right into where we need to be. Perfect. All right, so let's see if we can set this up fairly quick and, you know, get on with the build. So one thing I'm going to do is we're going to set up a little bit of a delay so that the door stays open a little bit. And we're just going to do 2 repeaters like that. That's all we need, is just a little bit longer of a delay. And now that we have this set up fairly properly up until that point, I believe this should be closed. Yes, so that's closed. So we need to add in a reversing circuit, which is, I don't know what it's actually called, but you just throw a torch on there and then that will power the redstone that comes this way like this. And then that will shut that off. And now the piston should be on, which it is. So theoretically, this should open it, which it does. And then it should stay delayed a little bit, which it does. And we have our secret entrance. And that went a lot smoother than I ever could have anticipated. So one thing I'm going to do down here first is just throw a torch. We don't need any... What am I doing? What am I doing here? There we go. We don't need any... That was... Wow. I don't know what happened there, but I was struggling. But anyways, as I'm trying to say, we don't need any mobs spawning down there and, you know, causing a ruckus. So we can put our ground back in and... Maybe we'll just throw some cobbles in like that and leave it. And then we can add our water back. And we suddenly have A very secret entrance. Oh, I forgot something. Our stair. How could I have forgotten the stair? There we go. So why don't we get the rest of this base of the tree built up so that we can really see how the secret door is going to work. So let's rip right through it. And here we have the beginning of our big ol' spruce tree. So let's hop over here and take a little peek at this thing. So actually, first off, over here, we've got our roots underneath. You know, I was going to use the mangrove roots, see if they worked. And then the muddy roots, which I forgot that was a thing. So we had to make some of those. And yeah, I don't know if they work color-wise because, you know, I couldn't tell you. But hey, they look like roots, so I guess I'll keep them. And then also, I used a little bit of the dripstone block around, just kind of like, maybe it looks like some sort of dirt. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely off base on that. But yeah, so our trunk it's started. It's looking like a tree. The plan is to go up another maybe 5 or so blocks before we start building the treehouse, just because I want the canopy of this tree to be right around this level. And I want there to be some branches below the treehouse so that it's not just like, you know, house with tree on top. I want it to be like a treehouse in the middle of a tree. And speaking of the treehouse, our secret entrance is built and ready to go. So all you have to do is jump onto here, jump over, it opens, and boom, you're in here. And there's a ladder that's going to lead up into the treehouse. So I think that's kind of a neat little feature to this thing. I mean, it's probably pretty obvious since there's a pressure plate on a stone out there, but hey, it's as easy as that. So we continue with building. And our tree has been completed. No, it hasn't been completed. It's only the bottom layer of, you know, branches sticking out because I wanted to get a feel for where this treehouse is. Oops. Actually going to go. And I think this is a pretty good spot because then we can fill it out with branches around the whole thing and then also, you know, extend the tree all the way up above it too. But at least for now, you can kind of get a feel for just how big this thing needed to be. But now we can start on the actual house up there, and I kind of actually don't really have a plan. But what I do know is we're going to make it out of spruce wood. This is one thing that I actually experimented with in creative, and I was just kind of trying to decide, like, if I wanted to use, where is all of my wood? There it is. If I wanted to use spruce for the build or dark oak so that it kind of like blended into the rest of the tree. And I decided that spruce was the way to go. And maybe once I build it all, I'll decide that dark oak was the way to go. But I feel, I feel like dark oak would have, yeah, it would have like looked too much like the tree. Does that make sense? I'm gonna stop yapping. So we need some planks to get started. Maybe I'll do like the floor in dark oak. That's an option. I could do that. But yeah, so some of these rooms, like let's just say that we have a room over here that, you know, kind of is shaped like this. Well, maybe we'll go up a couple steps like to this level, and then this room doesn't have a wall like that. It's just like fence posts holding up a frame, but then just leaves around it, you know. Some of the rooms are going to be kind of more natural than the others. And maybe even one of them is like a open diving board into this pool over here that isn't very deep. So maybe not actually after this thing needs a floor so bad. But yeah, so maybe we'll start right over on this side where I had that mock-up. And, you know, I kind of didn't hate that. So maybe we'll just kind of bring that back. I mean, we'll maybe move it over a little bit further. Do we want to poke it out anymore, though? Maybe we will. So maybe we'll do it over there, kind of almost in the corner of a round tree. Good one. But yeah, over on the side like that. And then I'm going to do the, this is just getting embarrassing, honestly. I mean, we gotta get a floor in. Anyways, like the bottom pieces kind of sticking out like this, almost like there's logs in here holding up the entire wall. And then maybe on the top jut outs too. I haven't decided about that, but I also want to try something other than planks. I want to try just putting stairs out here instead. And I have like PTSD from falling through this now. And then the floor is going to be planks. So it'll almost be like you can walk right up to the window and then there'll just be a little bit of a lip to hold you in. So yeah, I think over here will be one room. And then, you know what? We'll bring this back a little bit further on this side. We don't want any jut outs right into, you know, the waterfall. Or do we want one back here that kind of has a nice overlook of the wall? Yeah, maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll add another one that sticks out this way. We'll go up like a block or two. I don't want everything to be on the same level. And you know what? These guys are being so noisy that I think we have to take a detour. And it's time to buy. Oh, yeah! Oh my goodness, he's got an enchanted crossbow. This could be bad. I could be done for. Just kidding. I'm a beast. I never even attacked this one. I think my Thorns armor just kind of took him out before I could get to him. Anyways, yeah, so this will be one room over here. I think we may just do the walls, you know, just kind of in planks on top of the logs. And then we've also got to extend our tree up a bit, which of course will also change things because now I have to think about how to get around this because this doesn't look like it'll work, does it? Although we do need a way in here, so we could take out this block right here and just make the floor go by. So this could work as just like its own standalone room. Maybe we will keep it like this. And then we'll do one more row of planks, and then we will go back to the logs. So it'll look like that, and then we'll even do some upside down stairs on the top. Oh, I can't get up there now, can I? But this is pretty much how it'll look from the inside. I got the glass in, and then on the outside, I did a little bit of a change and added some trap doors around here. And I think it kind of makes it look a little bit cleaner. But I think it does look a little bit better than just having, you know, the ends of the logs sticking out. I mean, it did look a little bit weird to me, but now it's fixed. So now we can continue, and maybe we'll do this next room over this way. So we'll need to do a step up right here, but I don't know. Do I want to do it immediately coming out of the, I almost said elevator. Oh, goodness. The ladder, and I don't know, but this one is probably going to be a plank. Yeah, I think that works because I forgot this was a half slab. So now we're going up to another half slab, and it'll be a good height to see, you know, down the waterfall, but also into the cave. Ooh, this is working out. Uh-oh, nighttime. And yeah, it looks pretty terrible right now. Ooh, boy. Man, I really do hope this works out. So now we got to decide where this one's going to be, and I think we may actually go from right here. So we could throw a log here to continue our logs going out. Yeah, just one block higher. And of course, I forgot on the other one, but we do got to mix in some dark oak. So now this will be our second room, which of course is overlooking the waterfall. But now, do I want to do something to where you can see down through the floor? I also went over a little bit too far, I think. This one, I want this one to be a little smaller. Yeah, so this is a better size. But yeah, I don't know if I want to do like glass flooring out here and maybe, you know, cut off some of the walls so that you can see down. Should I do that? I also dropped a stair. And I ended up doing that after all. So now we've got a nice big window and a little bit of a glass floor so you can see all of the way down into the waterfall and also into the cave, just like we planned. And I also started adding some foliage into the walls, you know, just adding some leaves here and there, giving it a little bit more of a natural feel. We probably got to do quite a bit over here too, as a matter of fact. You know, just a little something like that with my temporary sleeping bag on the floor. But now I think we're going to continue wrapping around this way, and we're going to go up a little bit more for this next room. So this is going to be pretty much just a staircase. And now I think this room up here may be the one that we kind of build like a frame for with some fences, just so that it's more natural than the other ones that are, I mean, this is pretty much a house. We got an actual tree house right here. This one over here is going to be just like a foliage porch. So we've got some planks here, and then we're going to need to go up one more so that we have the bottom slabs for the floor, the base of the floor. And I think we're going to have the floor a little bit sketchy and deteriorated up here as well. Make it a little more sketchy than it needs to be because, you know, why the heck not? But then I also changed my mind again, and I decided that those are going to get flipped up, and that's going to essentially be the bottom wall of, you know, this sketchy little patio thing we got going over here. So what I'm thinking is just using fences, you know, as posts like this to go up to the whatever we're going to use for the roof, the ceiling structure. So this is kind of what I'm thinking for this. It's gonna be wrapped in leaves pretty much, so I don't think it'll be too treacherous. But what I'm thinking is maybe just doing another row of trap doors up here, and you know, don't fall. just stay back a little bit. And this is kind of what I mean by that. I mean, you can still get up on the edge here, so just, you know, use your brain, don't fall. But we finished our porch and we did some foliage all of the way back down into our other two rooms. And I believe that's where we're gonna, you know, cap the treehouse. I think that's gonna be the uppermost room, and then we're just gonna have tree above it. Maybe I might take this out and just do one ladder that goes all the way up to like a little cupola up there, you know, something like that, but haven't decided on that yet. We'll see how it goes with building the tree. But for now, this is what we have. And, you know, actually, I may I may do some more up here that you can't see from the outside, just so that there's a little bit more room inside, you know? So it's not just two little rooms and a tiny little porch over here. And maybe that'll make it feel just a little bit more roomy, which I guess isn't a huge deal in a treehouse that's built in a tree that's only so big, but yeah. So I have decided that I want to do a little bit of an extra room up top for some storage. Maybe it'll just be like, you know, the main room, like, I don't know, a kitchen and all that good stuff up there. And then down here could just be like the lookout room, a little bedroom, the porch, you know, that sort of thing. So if we climb our ladder and add a couple more ladders to get up here, I think we'll do it right at this level. And then, yeah, we'll have one more room for whatever we want. And then we just got to do a tree around it, which should be interesting. And for now, this is what it's looking like. It's, yeah, it's curious. Over here is going to be a little interesting. It might be sticking out quite a bit, but yeah, I guess we'll find out. This one might be sticking out too much. Might have to mess with that. I don't know yet, but we will find out after the time lapse. So let's go. And here we have our cute little treehouse. Let's take a look at this thing, why don't we? So I suppose we may as well just start down here, and I didn't go too crazy with the, hold on, with these things. What are they called? Glowberries this time, because, you know, it's a tree. I feel like there shouldn't be too many vines. Vines are bad for trees. That's why I kind of went light on them up here, even though they're spreading. But that's okay. It doesn't look too bad. We also have lichen on it around the water. We've got some sea pickles in the water for, I don't really know why I put sea pickles in the water, but I really do love this swing with the lantern on top. I mean, you can get on it, you can sit here, you can go for a swing, kind of, but if not for anything else, it does look kind of cool with that funky little branch that it's hanging on. Hopefully that branch doesn't break. That'd be tragic. But yeah, this is just kind of the underside. We've got our little branches hanging out and, you know, some knots in the tree with the buttons as per usual, but this one is a much bigger scale than any of the other ones. I can only imagine how many leaves it took to build this. I should have kept track, actually. But anywho, let's get inside and check out the interior. So we're going in the secret entrance, and then we will arrive up here at the first floor, where immediately we can see to our left the observation room, which I left this very open, other than some paintings, obviously. But yeah, I wanted to leave it open so that you could just kind of come over here and you know, check everything out. I mean, it's pretty interesting. Seeing a waterfall from this angle, especially being able to see into the source of it, not too often you get to see it from this angle, so we're leaving this wide open for some observation. But then if we come back down past the ladder, we have our bedroom with our sleeping bag still on the floor right in front of a new bookshelf that was installed, along with some barrels for storage and a few paintings, but actually only a couple paintings. I didn't put one over here, but we're keeping this very, very simple. It's essentially just a hangout. It's not a full-on house because we have the house down there, the cabin. So this is kind of just if you want to come sleep out in the woods for a night, you've got a very close and easily accessible place right nearby. So then if we swing around up here to our porch that's deteriorating, we did nothing because, I mean, it's just a porch and there's not really too much room. Oh, I lied. We put a barrel and a lantern. So we did do something. But anyways, let's head up a little further because boy, am I excited about this. It's nothing special, but it's just something a little funky. So on this platform, we have, you know, just a little bench here to look out over the valley and, you know, the lake over there, right out this nice window with, of course, a painting and some more bookshelves, which I realize now that I forgot to bring books. That's kind of unfortunate. Actually, I probably have plenty of leather from all these wandering traders and their llamas, but then again, I don't have any paper. Okay, anyways, enough rambling. Yeah, this is just like, you know, a little observation seating area since, you know, the one downstairs doesn't have seating. But around this side, this looks to be a bench or a couch, maybe. And then we have a big TV up here. And we're playing a spider game. I don't know what sort of game it would be. Oh, it's Spider-Man. Yeah, we're playing Spider-Man up in the tree fort. Work with me here, all right, please. But then last but not least, we can go a little bit further up the ladder and we have kind of like a lookout tower at the top where you can see pretty much everywhere. Obviously not to the backside because there's the cliff there. But yeah, we got a pretty good view of just about everything out front of our cabin and our new tree fort and all that. So yeah, that's what this is. It's kind of just an observation deck. And that's just about everything that we've got with the tree fort. So the only issue that I've discovered is I didn't really create a way to get out of here. We don't have an exit. So right now it's pretty much if you don't have an elytra, you kind of just gotta hope and pray because you just kind of gotta come over this way around to our deteriorating porch and take a little flight down. Oh, I could add a pool of water down there or something. Nope, couldn't do that. That would look terrible. So yeah, if you don't have an elytra, good luck. But that's where we're gonna call this one. We got the whole treehouse completed and all of the stuff around it, and I think it looks pretty beautiful. So as per usual, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment, and you know what? Maybe share it a little bit too. Tell some people, hey, this guy just built a treehouse and it's kind of cool, so you know, you should go check it out and, you know, maybe build it for yourself or something, or at least subscribe. That'd be kind of cool. But I love you guys so much. Thank you for the support as usual, and we will see you next time. So bye.